I thought I heard the old man say, "Lever, Johnny, lever." It's VGC, the video game podcast, episode 169, with me, Jordan Medler, Chris Scullion, Andy Robinson, and Chris Drink. This week, Xbox is back again, and Miyamoto slams the critics. But first, how's it going, folks? Chris Drink, you've dressed up for the occasion. Who do you think you are?
I'm doing a lot of recording today. This is my.
He had a proper.
I'm on back-to-back interviews and things. So
all the fans.
I'm glad you've found 2 minutes to come to this Chuckle Fest. Anything you can talk about, or all hush hush? Bear in mind this goes up in about 4 hours, I would say.
Yeah, one of it's an embargoed thing, and the other one isn't, but it's not that interesting.
What a sell! The game business.
When he goes up next week, guess which one's which?
Well, yeah, one of them's gonna. Yeah, well, no, I don't know. It's just I don't think people. One of them's about Elder Scrolls, and the other one is a game that's coming out that I can't tell you about.
Does it rhyme with Schmeety Schmee Schmecks? Is it one of those? Are you?
Yeah, I'm just talking to Rockstar. Yeah, I've just been playing with GTA 6. They've decided to just skip 6 and go straight to 7.
6, 7. Is that still a thing? 6, 7? Are we still doing 6, 7 around here? 6, 7? No. Who knows? Andy Robinson, what's your favourite meme of the week?
My favourite meme of the week. Sometimes maybe good, sometimes maybe shit.
That's a good one. It's a solid one. It comes back around. I'm enjoying a lot of the Arsenal bottling memes there.
I use that one
at the moment. Pretty good. Chris Scullion. Hello. Big week for you. Xbox is back. We've got you down from your absolute high of taking 700 pills. How are you feeling?
Finally, I'm delighted. I'm fully bought into this week's.
Is this better than the last time Xbox was back, or are you more looking forward to the next time Xbox is back?
You mean the big Xbox comeback of 3 weeks ago?
I look forward to it. It's been a fun old week around these parts. It's warm in Scotland right now, like genuinely warm, and it's making this a deeply uncomfortable recording studio because everything is running at full bung.
When you say this warm, I looked at my screen out the window to see how warm it was, and I'd realised that this is so bright it looks like we're on Mars on Total Recall. Like if I go outside,
the nukes have fallen in Edinburgh, unfortunately. This will be Chris's final broadcast.
Get your ass to Mars.
Yeah.
What happens to people from Scotland when the sun comes out?
Billy Connolly once famously said that his skin is naturally blue, and then when he tans, he goes white.
Yeah.
So that's
Billy Connolly,
very funny story.
The problem with Scottish houses is they're all made out of brick, so they retain heat like an oven. You're essentially living in a pizza oven for the summer months. And thanks to this woke lie of global warming, it means that the summers get to like 40 degrees here, and people are going to die from it. It's not great, but it does mean that I have a great excuse to drink some beautiful cans of juice, which I will review in a minute. But before I do that, if you love this wonderful video game website and you'd like to see it continue to live, laugh, love, and thrive and survive, consider checking out patreon.com/video games chronicle. We have extra podcasts up there every week. You get at least 20 more minutes of this nonsense of a Tuesday. It's me and Chris answering your salacious questions over there. We also have our watch over videos where we watch such luminaries as E3 2010 Xbox back in the classic days. Chris Dring, do you miss 2010 Xbox? The Kinect, Gears of War 3, Your Shape Fitness Evolve. Stop me when I stop saying bangers.
Which was all the Xbox conferences back then were identical. Mm-hmm. And there was one that I found made me laugh was when they have the South Park, I think it's for the Stick of Truth. But Trey Parker and Matt Stone came out on stage and they took the piss out of the Kinect. Have you ever wanted to play your games from a refrigerator? And it's like it was the moment that was my favorite Xbox E3 moment from those 360 days. But yeah,
sadly we lasered in between them having the Beatles and having the South Park guys when they had the ESPN guys, which is exactly what I go to E3 waiting for. I'm there with my ticker tape parade waiting for the ESPN guys to come out.
Was that the one? Because obviously I was away last week. I was doing better things with my life. Was that the one that it was the Avatar show? You were watching?
No, that was the first Kinect year but Kudo did come out. Kudo Sonoda did come out at the E3 we watched in full purple tracksuit and massive sunglasses, which is a look that I think Chris Dring should bring back for Game Business Live this year.
Was this Milo and Kate then?
No, that was the game. That was the first year.
That's all Project Natal.
Oh yeah, true enough.
This was, here are the games that we're shiting out, and at the end
Star
they're
Wars.
like, here is the fakest Kinect Star Wars trailer you've ever seen in your entire life. But if you want to watch us chat about that, you can do so over on patreon.com/video games chronicle, and get your tickets to VGC Live this October. You've got nothing else on October 16th from Glasgow's Oran Moore. Special guests, fun prizes, a circus of value, surprises that I won't even tell Andy and Chris about. I'll just foist it upon them on stage. It's live, it's raw. Look forward to all of that.
The day before your event, I'm interviewing Ken Kutaragi on stage in Middlesbrough.
Get him to the pod. Get him up there.
Do you think he'd come? Do you think we should invite him along?
Absolutely.
Should we smuggle him onto a
If he
train?
does, I will. Let's try and.
What an amazing closing moment that would be. We've got one more thing. Here he is, the father of the PlayStation, Ken Kutaragi. And he just walks on the waves and walks straight back off.
I've heard we can't afford him.
Let's see. Maybe get him to review a energy drink.
Get him on for the most pointless thing. Bring him on for like literally a single word at the very end. Go, Ken, what's your favourite energy drink? He just goes, Lucozade. Thanks very much. He just leaves. Like, bring him all the way to Scotland just for that.
Yeah, get him out for the prize giving ceremony, and that's it. But yes, VGC Live, get your tickets now. It's been a while. Someone complained on a comment recently saying, do they not do energy drinks anymore? And my heart sank, because I feel like that's our USP. There's so many gaming podcasts, but none of them actually care about this energy drink game. Not that charlatan Jeff Gersman. So I went to the Bossman shop this morning and got Monster Energy Punk Punch, the newest tipple to come over to these shores. Chris, give me a beat. Chris Scullion, I forgot that this is confusing.
What kind of be just a general?
Low-key beats to review Monster 2, please. Live fast, play loudly, challenge convention, and rediscover Fruit Punch. Fueled by rebellion, self-expression, and our world-famous energy blend, we reinvented what Fruit Punch should be. Zero sugar, not too sweet, and goes down smooth. Ultra Punk Punch has the perfect amount of energy to power you through your next show. From pop punks
Sorry, we're done, sorry.
to crusty ones, emos to screamos, we're all down with that. Oi, oi, oi. Now, I don't know.
Just toss it into the bin right away.
I don't know what crusty ones they're referring to, but let's get into this.
What podcast have I joined?
The VGC podcast. This is all
You've been on it. You've not
it's
seen an
fine.
energy drink review.
I have.
Zero sugar, I'm not interested.
Your
Very,
Summer
very
Game
good.
Fest collection of drinks was special.
It was
Yeah, the maid
special.
cleaned it. Yeah.
That Philistine maid cleared it away from us.
Filthy mate. Poor lassie.
That's sensational. It tastes like a sugary fruit punch, but it's got zero sugar. It's got zero sugar per can. So head down
Is it too
to
sweet? Is it not too sweet?
It's a bit too sweet, but I like a zero sugar too sweet energy drink. So head down and you can get 400% of your daily pantothenic acid, and 490% of your vitamin B12. So, Dringo, you're always saying to me, where can I get more B12? The answer is Monster
do keep saying
Energy,
that to you, yeah.
zero sugar. Enough of the bollocks. Public apology. We're talking about Xbox again. Story number one, Xbox confirms it's, quote, reevaluating exclusivity as it shares future mission statement and cuts Game Pass price. We've got two Xbox stories in one, but we'll do this in order. First things first. On the 21st, Xbox announced price cuts for Game Pass Ultimate and PC Game Pass and has removed Call of Duty game launches from the service. Starting on the 21st, Game Pass Ultimate is $16.99 a month in the UK, down from $22.99. PC Game Pass $10.99, down from $13.49. Call of Duty games will come about a year later now. Chris String, after all that belly aching, all that court fighting, all that Jim Ryan sleepless nights, they have taken Call of Duty launches out of Game Pass. What are your thoughts?
I think what we're clearly seeing, what's clearly happened is they raised the price by it's actually a quite ridiculous price rise in October last year, and they lost a load of players. And they lost more players than I assume they made up in the revenue they gained from the increases. So they've had to address that. I think the only people that are really harmed by this are the sort of people that buy Call of Duty, who get Game Pass like a month just to play Call of Duty and then unsubscribe. Everyone else's benefits. I think the cost saving that you make over the year from this price drop is more than that actually Call of Duty costs. So even if you had to buy Call of Duty, you're still better off as a result of this price drop. So I think for most people, it's a good thing. But I think Game Pass has got a problem in that, and I've always said this. Most people don't play games. I think there's a statistic. I keep going on the VGC because your coverage of the Circana statistic is really good. There is something 63% of gamers don't buy two or fewer games. So if you think of the average gamer doesn't play that many games, and Game Pass at $30 a month, that's equivalent to like 5.2 games. Yeah. So you've got to buy 5.2 $70 games a year to justify buying Game Pass instead. And there always have to be games that are in Game Pass as well. The math didn't add up. So I think it is, I think they've just looked at that and gone, this isn't working. This is a short-term solution though. Ultimately trying to convince people who unsubscribe to resubscribe. It's a really hard job. Even if a price drop's not going to do that alone, they're going to have to lean into Forza and Gears and Halo and Fable and do all those things to try and get those users back. But I don't think this is their long-term solution. This is just a short-term effort. There's been lots of ideas throwing around. That's the thing with this Xbox, all this Xbox stuff they're saying. We're trying stuff. We're just going to try it and see what happens. So I think I think working out how to make Game Pass work is a big question. I did wonder actually if they could adopt like the Sky model, where you get like a cheap base package for Game Pass, and then you can go, I'm really into retro games, so I'm going to buy the retro game package and get all the classic games. Or I'm really into shooters, so I'm going to buy the shooter package, or RPGs or whatever, and you can sort of bolt it on, and you can bolt it on depending on your preferences in games. I think that might be that if you bolt everything on, it'd be really expensive, but it might help people. It might keep the price lower.
To the cable television model after the subscription era dies, we're back into this muck. Andy, if Call of Duty falls, which it has, does this open the floodgates for them saying, well, we're probably going to sell a hell of a lot of Elder Scrolls 6s, maybe we take this one off as well?
Maybe not. I think they've tried. It was always a gamble, right? Put Call of Duty in and see if it makes a difference to their subscriber base, and everything kind of points that it probably didn't have the effect that they wanted. So they've taken it out. I don't think it's necessarily indicative of anything. I mean, probably the next story is more indicative of what they might be thinking or might be doing. I've not really got much to add beyond that, to be honest.
I think we like it quite binary in our thinking of this. Like it's you either do exclusives or you don't. Or you either do everything's in Game Pass or everything's not in Game Pass. And I actually think it makes sense to do things on a case by case basis. I think
that's nuance. That's nuance, Chris String, and there's not time for nuance on VGC, the video game podcast.
I do think it's quite funny that they still managed to get away with the price increase to an extent and but make it look more positive than it was, because obviously it used to be $20 until that ridiculous 50% price hike. So they went, it was $20, now it's $30, and everyone went, what? And now they've gone, okay, 23, and everyone's going, yay. And it's like, well,
it's like negotiation. Well, it was like even cheaper the year before that. Like it was like that was a big price jump the year before that. But look, it's problem with the subscription model is that it takes away sales of new games, and so therefore, even if it reduces the margin on those games. So a game like Starfield comes out, should be one of the biggest entertainment launches of that year, but it didn't really receive the marketing to get that. And the reason why it didn't receive the marketing to get that is because there's no margin on it, because there's all people accessing it via subscription. So that, well, not everyone, but a lot of people were. So that impacted their ability to market it and promote it in such a way. Now, the solution to that is you bring the games to PlayStation, which allows you to sell more physical copies, which allows you to potentially spend more on marketing, make your games a bigger deal. But then that impacts your signups and console sales and your active audience on the Xbox. So it was like the knock-on effect of all this has been quite complicated, I think, and they just have to keep trying and learning, I think.
I suppose Forza's the next big test, isn't it? 'Cause it's out in like just over 3 weeks, 3 or 4 weeks, and by all accounts, based on the preview code, it seems like that's going to score pretty well. And
I don't know, mate. I watched
the
the VGC preview and the video was pretty terrible in my
people
opinion.
complained the roads were really wide. I suppose
Yeah.
that's a 2 out of 5 game right there.
Yeah.
But yeah,
third most wishlisted game on Steam at the moment is Forza Horizon 6, and with last I checked, like 2.7 million wishlists.
So that blows my mind that Xbox is selling anything on Steam when you've got PC Game Pass. The fact that people are more willing to actually go, I'm going to pay 60 quid for that instead of subscribing to Game Pass. I don't know if that speaks to the quality of the game or to how unappealing Game Pass is to some people, that they would rather just buy the game and play it on Steam rather than have to use Windows.
If you think of Xbox games that sell well on PC, I guess it's the Blizzard titles and it's Call of Duty and Forza. But actually, when you think about the traditional Xbox games, they don't do that great on PC, really. I just
Same for PlayStation as well.
On Xbox.
Yeah. Oh yeah, it's true. It's just traditional console games. Some of them do. Sports games. Nobody buys sports games on consoles.
I probably wasn't paying enough attention, but I was quite surprised by that when that initially happened a couple of years ago, when everyone was doing the big PC push, and kind of the feeling back in the trenches in the 360 PS3 days was sort of like, wow, if you put Uncharted on PC, it would do really well, wouldn't it? And it just absolutely didn't. None of these games really dented. And Horizon 1 did all right, didn't it?
Yeah, and I think games that sort of appeal to markets where PC is the dominant platform, where there isn't a console audience, like games that might appeal in China and stuff like that. Good for China.
Was that a Trump China?
Yeah.
See, it's funny because when you go to Trump, I go to Street Fighter. Whenever I hear a country that wasn't Street Fighter, my head always goes China.
Yeah.
I go straight to the Street Fighter.
It wasn't very good. Can you set that up again for me, Chris? I feel like I could do it better.
Okay. Sometimes it makes sense to put your games on PC if it's a game that might appeal to people in China.
China. It still wasn't great. I'm not loving it anyway.
Still as good as USSR.
Yeah.
That's what. Yeah.
Speaking of people who probably love Trump, Xbox has another statement that's totally unfounded. It's 23rd of the 4th. Microsoft's new gaming CEO, Asha Sharma, in a very nice Halo jacket, let me say, has shared a mission statement for the future of Xbox and confirmed that the platform holder is reevaluating game exclusivity and AI. They sent out a message to Xbox employees worldwide, and instead of waiting for it to inevitably leak seconds later, they just put it up online, which I felt like was a smart move. They said the new North Star would be Xbox daily active players, and indicated that it would execute its new plan through 4 priorities: hardware, content, experience, and services. Quote, along the way, we will reevaluate our approach to exclusivity, windowing, and AI, and share more as we learn and decide. Chris Scullion, Vuvuzella's at the ready. Do you think, first of all, I think this is quite a strong statement. I think this is well done. I'm glad they just put it out. Second of all, is this we are reevaluating exclusivity just red meat for the base, for the green Twitter profile pictures that are going, Xbox is back. They're never going to put Master Chief on PlayStation.
I'm very much a actions man rather than a words man. Like reevaluating just means we'll have a look at it.
Reevaluated, and the answer is no.
I know by no means is this them saying we're going to drop exclusivity, but by just hinting at it, they're going to get the hardest of hardcore back on board, going, they're back. This is like the continuation of the stuff they were saying in the previous weeks. She's talking a good game. Mm-hmm. I think the Game Pass price drop is the first actual sign of them doing a positive thing. All this stuff about with reevaluating exclusivity and AI and stuff like that, I think is just to try and keep people sweet until they actually make decisions based on that. I don't put much stock in it until they actually do something.
I think they had a problem in the last regime of spending too much time focusing on the absolute hardcores of the hardcore and playing to an audience that went absolutely berserk when they started putting their games on PlayStation, and I think they should avoid going back to that. But Andy, what do you think this will actually mean in practice? Because surely the bean counters at Microsoft, the pencil pushers down at City Hall, can't look at those Forza sales and go, oh no, we'll actually just we'll swallow those 5 million PlayStation sales just for the sake of exclusivity.
I don't think much has changed at all. I think it's very disingenuous. I think that's exactly what they're doing that you just said. I think they're playing a dangerous game where they are playing to the core, core fan base. But I don't think that's entirely consistent with what they clearly seem to be doing. There's a lot of double speak in this statement. You know, they're dedicated to consoles, but they want to be everywhere. Yeah. You know, they're considering exclusivity, but they're also considering not doing exclusivity.
Well, yeah, they're exclusivity, but they're also about daily active players.
You know, but we got a new logo. You know, like you can imagine them doing stuff like, oh, hey, we changed the boot up sound back and things like that. Just little things that don't mean anything. That get them a lot of goodwill, which is fine. Excuse me, which is fine. Like if I took over West Ham United tomorrow, right? No, but I've said this for a while. That just the little like when you're, because it's very similar actually. I think.
Yeah.
Like Xbox, the Xbox fan base are a lot like a football team fans, right? You know, it's and people were saying that like years ago that there's plenty of arguments comparing like that gaming is kind of like sport now. Yeah. You know, that you have your team and you kind of stick to it. I'm not just talking about platform holders, talking about like games, right? You might be on Fortnite or
Peter Moore's always floating about.
But yeah, if I went into West Ham United tomorrow night and I win over the fans, I change the badge back.
Yep.
You know. Stupid, it costs you nothing. Huge goodwill. This is what she's doing here is exactly easy, low hanging fruit. But in terms of what they're actually doing, right? I mean, Chris can talk more to this, but the most telling line is their new North Star, right? The daily active players.
Yeah. But even that, so there is an element. Some of this, and not just this statement, but ever since Ash has come into it, there's a lot of PR fluff. Like you have to sort of cut. So when they said the return of Xbox, I've been saying that a lot. I still don't quite know what that means, but I actually think it's just a marketing tagline.
It's make America great again.
It's like this is an Xbox, the return of Xbox. Like it doesn't. Where's Xbox returning from? Oh, it doesn't really mean that. It means an evolution. So it's not a return of Xbox. Basically, it's a great line to have around Gears of War and we got Gears of War and Halo and Forza and Fable, right? It's a great line to have, but it doesn't really mean anything. And there's a lot of stuff in this, like they've changed the name from Microsoft Gaming back to Xbox. It doesn't mean anything. It's a bit like Sony's been called Sony Interactive Entertainment for a long time, before that Sony Computer Entertainment, but everyone calls them PlayStation. It doesn't matter. But it's a great, as Andy said, it's a great thing to say, we've done this, and everyone goes, yeah. It doesn't mean anything. It's easy changes.
I just on that, Dringo, before you proceed, I could not believe that specific thing of changing it from Microsoft Gaming back to Xbox. There was tweets with like 40,000 likes of like, Microsoft Gaming is dead, we're Xbox again, and it's like, how thick are you people?
It's not called the Microsoft Gaming Series X.
Yeah,
so, I mean, it's always been Xbox to the
it's a sports team. The real, like, you know,
change
the real meaningful takeaway from this, you dig down, is that it kind of suggests that they're going to double down on their biggest games.
Wow.
And, you know, go into live services and, you know, mobile, and it kind of like underneath the surface, you look at what they're actually saying. It's a lot of stuff that perhaps isn't what the fans want to hear.
Well, yeah. So there is you mentioned the daily active users. I didn't actually answer your question, Andy.
I know. Very rude.
It's the thing is, Alex Donaldson was on the text chain with us, and I agree. He's absolutely right. What does daily active user really mean? He may have heard of him. He used to work RPG site. He used to be a Eurogamer. He's kind of a nobody.
He used to do freelance. Did you say?
He quite rightly points out. But what does a daily active? What daily active user matters? Is it a daily active user of Gears of War on PlayStation, or is it a daily active user on Game Pass or Xbox? Obviously, the latter is more valuable than the former. And so that's when you start getting into exclusivity. A lot of what they're saying is they're going to try stuff and see what works. And if it doesn't work, they're going to change it. And I actually I've always been critical. I've always said Xbox needs to stop talking, just get on with it. But actually them sort of going, we're just going to keep trying things and we'll hear what you say and we'll see what you say. And then we might change something else. Actually, I kind of like that. And that will involve a lot more talking. The other bit, though, that I think you've pointed out, Andy, is in their 4 segments that they talk about they're focusing on. The content segment, which means games, they're going to grow and extend enduring portfolio of franchises they love. So that's Halo, Gears of War, their big Xbox IP, Elder Scrolls.
Minecraft.
They're going to keep, Minecraft comes a little bit lower. So they're going to keep supporting the big franchises, right? Okay, great. They're going to evolve third-party partnerships, which is, I mean, to be fair, they've been doing this for years, but they're going to work with third parties and stuff. They're going to expand into China. That's going to be a lot more mobile games.
China.
and that's something that Phil Spencer's been talking about for 5 years. They're going to maintain and grow in live games long-term stewardship. So that's Call of Duty and that's all that stuff. And then the last one is they're going to elevate creator-centric platforms, which I'm surprised they mentioned things like Elder Scrolls and Sea of Thieves. There isn't that much creator elements to that, but they're basically creative economies. There is nothing in here about single player games, 8-hour experiences, nothing at all. And if I am In Exile or Compulsion or Double Fine or Ninja Theory, I'm looking at that going, where do I fit into that? And I don't entirely sure they do. So that's where I'm like, thinking that's something that's missing from that. And that's something that I'm not surprised though. I've always felt those developers don't really fit anymore. Xbox might, well, if you look at the types of games those studios make and those types of games that are breaking out, it's people that actually Xbox are partnering it with in third parties. It's Claire Obscure, it's Hollow Knight, it's things like that. It's Dispatch and stuff. And Xbox better off just partnering with studios doing interesting things in that space as opposed to doing it themselves. I think the answer is,
I mean, and those smaller games are always going to be the casualties if the kind of Game Pass bet didn't come off, if they didn't reach their, go for their 100 million users and really make it the core of the business. Though you think about the Netflix model, the types of like different stuff that kind of takes off by being on that. And I remember Xbox always used to, kind of big up a lot about how subscribers on Game Pass would try genres for the first time and, and games that they'd never consider. And obviously if that goes away, then it's like, well, where does all that stuff fit? You always could see them that if the Game Pass became secondary ultimately, that then they would probably double down on their bigger stuff.
I mean, I'm reading between the lines. I think Xbox are trying things. I actually think the post, even though a lot of it is, we're going to see what happens, this is where the market's going, I think it does offer a little bit of clarity. I think we do know what that primary goal is, and there'll be nuance to that goal, and that's still to work out. But I have been here before. I've sat here in May and June where Xbox had to do their business updates. They explain their vision. It sounds really good, and then it just doesn't work out because ultimately it all comes down to games, and they've been inconsistent in that space.
It reminds me of there is a good Scottish football meme. It's the Rangers cycle, where it's like every year for the past 5 years, it's like, we commence the rebuild in the summer. This is going to be our year. They drop points. The manager is sacked. We're commencing the rebuild. It's just cyclical, and the same thing happens over and over again. One of these days, they will presumably break the cycle, but it's hard not to feel cynical about it after having sat on this podcast and talked about Xbox's backstories for the past 2 years.
The important thing is,
I think what you said, but sorry, I'll quickly to say, I think what you said earlier about is it enough to please Town Hall? I think that's actually the biggest problem they've got. And it sounds like Ash has been given a bit of a rope, a bit of space to be able to do what she wants to do. But that is the challenge, because Xbox doesn't want to be third place or second place in the console market. It doesn't want to be fighting for second place in the PC space. Satya Nadella, Amy Hood would have spent $70 billion on Activision. They expect Xbox to be leading. And that will be the expectation of them. So when I want to give the advice that I give to any game studio, which is a games company, which is just focus on what you do, make some great games, try to use those great games to grow your audience, build a community. But actually, I don't know if that's going to be enough for Microsoft, and I think that's where the problem is.
The concern I have is that while I agree that the strategy of we're going to try a bunch of different things and see what the feedback is and see what you think of that requires patience, which is something that the fan base generally of most video game players don't generally have, which is why the Game Pass thing has got a reaction, because and why we're changing the brand back to Xbox is working, because those are really quick things you can do. Like, she's only been in the door 20 minutes, and those are the only things you can do at this point. I think the most important thing is that we now have a new phrase to memorize, because if they're now focusing on China, it's no longer konnichiwa, Phil Des. We now need
here we go.
Ni hao, wo zhao, Asha. That's the one we need to prepare for the
better,
next.
honestly, better than I expected that to go when you set that up.
Oh, listen, aye.
More
play the game.
More Xbox's backstories as we get them. I promise we will do an episode of this podcast without talking about it. We'll talk about.
I'm looking forward to. I like the way Asha Sharma's like counting up how many days she's been in charge. So up to I think 62 days. I'm looking for the 100-day documentary, like she's the president of the United States.
Next week, the Chris Scullion 20th anniversary podcast talking about counting down. I'll be coming all bells, singing and dancing. You should wait.
I'm pretty sure you're not on the show next week. Next story: Assassin's Creed Black Flag Resynced releases in July, ditches the multiplayer and DLC, as well as the tailing missions. Andy Robinson, the gameplay of this looks absolutely ridiculous. I can't wait to play this one.
Looks amazing, doesn't it? It's very, very, very pretty game. And the useful thing about looking at an Ubisoft game that looks very pretty is that we know this one's actually good. So you can be, kind of confident in your optimism.
Why are they remaking a game that only came out 5 years ago? I can't.
Yeah.
Came out when I was in high school. Bang.
PS4 launch game.
Yeah. The game that I played to death on my PS4. This is smart. It's like taking all the guff out of it. I'm sad they're not doing the DLC because that Freedom Cry expansion was actually really good.
Yeah.
The very cynical, very dark part of me just wonders whether that might be due to Shadows.
Yeah.
Not that anyone would ever, kind of admit to that on their side, but it does make you wonder, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Is it the only Ubisoft game this year?
They not
to be fair,
I
think that I do think they have something else. Yeah, I do think they have something else. This is probably going to do really well, though, isn't it? This,
yeah, probably.
That's a beloved game remake.
Yeah, probably quite an easy.
Apparently,
one.
It's already top 10 on the PlayStation charts.
Yeah, it's also a tenner cheaper. I think it's like 60 rather than 70.
Is it out in July? Did I read that?
July the 9th. July the 9th.
Watch the summer of GTA avoiders. That's the idea we're going to get.
There's our campaign.
Surely we're not forgetting that Ubisoft earlier this month already released Morbid Metal, a hack and slash roguelike with unique shape-shifting abilities and infinite replayability.
That's
available now on Steam.
That's a good point. A lot of people have been talking about that.
Morbid Metal.
A lot of people are saying Morbid Metal. I'm really looking forward to this. I want to rinse this. If this is what all that muck and bullets making Skull and Bones resulted in, I'm well up for that. The ship combat in this game was never bettered, even in later games where they just added ship combat, despite the fact that you probably shouldn't be on a ship. They're like, oh, we spent so much time making this, let's just shove it in here.
I do like how our preview pointed out that the main changes of the stealth stuff, which I always hated, that when you were tailing someone, the moment you were even briefly seen, the mission ended, whereas now you can do the usual continue and fight. And the same way, like some ship missions, you had to somehow track down a ship undetected, even though you're in the middle of the water. That's kind of coming out. That's going.
I have to be quiet.
You can't hide your ship around the corner.
You're going full speed and just hear, "Leave her, Johnny, leave her." The captain, I must sing. I can't row if I can't sing.
Sing quietly.
Leave her, Johnny, leave her. The best part of that game is when you crash into a ship and it's time to board and you can do like the big Jack Sparrow swing across onto the other ship, which they took out in later games. Like they took that animation out and I was like, game's gone. But yes, looking forward to
Assassin's Creed Black Flag was the last Assassin's Creed game I played. I think that's why I think it's more recent.
Mate, you should play Shadows.
Same,
it's class.
Same.
Shadows is very good. Is anyone on this podcast got any Shadows merch handy? Because I've been wondering how that's been going.
Don't make me go down the drawer.
You should have just been wearing it. You should be wearing it every single podcast.
Yeah.
Before we go for a break, Chris Scullion, you have some muck to talk about. I'm going to put a timer on. Once this timer gets to 2 minutes, you are being muted. 3, 2, 1.
So yesterday marked the 44th birthday of the ZX Spectrum, the greatest home computer ever released in the UK. Manufactured in Dundee. I thought that would appeal to you, Jordan. And a couple of years ago, a company called Retro Games re-released the Spectrum as an HD version and called it the Spectrum. Well, there was always an urban myth that to mark 1 million Spectrums sold back in the day, Clive Sinclair, who was his inventor, was given a white Spectrum from the production line to mark this 1 million Spectrum sold. And so to celebrate that urban myth, they have released the white version of the Spectrum, which is a very nice thing. It's still got the rubber keys from the Spectrum. 48 games built in, including classics such as Manic Miner, School Days, Match Day 2, Head Over Heels, and it also comes with a lovely white joystick, loads of white peripherals and stuff, and there's also a separate white gamepad, which you can also get for it if you don't like joysticks. I'm very happy with it. We reviewed the original Spectrum 2 years ago when it was released on VGC, so if you go on VGC.co,
the original Spectrum?
Website. No, the original version of the Spectrum. VGC.news or videogameschronicle.com. You can then see the full review of that where it got 4 out of 5 because it's a very good piece of kit. And this is a new white version, and that's it. There you go.
There you go.
Were we paid for that placement?
It's not a placement. It's genuinely good, and nobody's talking about it. So I just thought I'd kind of flag that it's not.
I've still got my my Spectrum. I got it. Found it in the parents' loft the other day. Seen the next room in the box. Mint.
That was my first, was the Spectrum. My dad had a Spectrum. And actually the cool thing is I used to read CVG and Crash. That were the two magazines I first read because I knew how, as soon as I started to know how to read, that was the magazines I read first. And this comes with like a new mini issue of Crash covering the games that are kind of included in the Spectrum, which is awesome.
It's fun little fact. It's because of the Spectrum being manufactured in Dundee.
I doubt it, mate. I really doubt it.
You know, the Scottish games industry is basically can trace its origins back to that Spectrum factory. So, because any broken or not that doesn't work properly or slightly defected machines were sold off for cheap to people in the local area, and those people would go hang out in local computer shops and make, like people like Dave Jones, founders of GTA and all that kind of stuff, sit there and make stuff on those things. And that is where the Scottish games scene, particularly around Dundee, began.
So basically we got a new Spectrum before GTA 6.
GTA 6 owes its life to the Spectrum.
Video games are big business, but did you know that the world's biggest video game actually started here in the quiet Dundee town?
It's a little known fact that Super Mario was more popular than Mickey Mouse.
What makes more money than the movies, the music industry, and concerts put together? Well, it started here drugs. In a quiet place in Scotland.
Cannabis.
What a load of old muck. Speaking of old muck, after the break, we will be talking about the Super Mario Galaxy movie. Keep it in your pants, Strangle. And we'll be talking about the most exciting news of the week. Somehow, Buck Bumble returned. We'll see you in a minute. And we are back. During the break, I procured a can of Boost Red Berry. It's an AG bar product. And it's on the back, it says Red Berry / Roda Bar. Anyone get any guesses what language Roda Bar is?
Surely Gaelic.
Actually, that's not a bad... that's not a bad shout, but I feel like it might be like Polish or something like that. I don't know. Very good, Google. Your shite AI goes again. I put in Roda Bar translation. Roda Bar translates to, in Portuguese, Roda de Barra. So great stuff. Everyone knows what that means. Lads, I can't actually remember. Dringo, were you here when we talked about the Mario Galaxy movie, or was that Donaldson that was screaming and shouting about that? Something, it was a couple of weeks ago now. We're about to talk about the Super Mario Galaxy movie.
I feel like I feel like I'm in like Groundhog Day, podcast Groundhog Day.
Nothing's happening, mate.
I'm doing Mario Galaxy movie.
Nothing's happening.
You know when something bad happens in your life and you end up, everyone comes up to you and says, how are you doing? And after a while, you just don't want to talk about it anymore. That's what I feel about the Mario Galaxy movie.
Did you hate it that much?
No, I don't. I thought it was fine. It's just I'm so tired of just talking about it and how I think. My one thing about it was like it's actually a very good translation of the games in that there's no story, the character development non-existent. It's a lot of fun nonsense string together, and it works better in games than it does in film. And there's my point, and that is all I've got to say about it.
Big Shig seems to think differently. Yeah. Big Shigsy broke down the door and said they expected the reception would be better for the sequel. He said it's true, the situation is indeed very similar, referring to the reviews to the first game. Actually, regarding the previous film, I felt that the critics' opinions did hold some validity. Thanks, Shigsy. However, I thought that things would be different this time around, only to find that the criticism is even harsher than it was before. It's really quite baffling. Here we are, having crossed over from a different field, working hard with the specific aim of helping to revitalise the film industry. Yeah, the very people who ought to be championing that cause seems to be the one taking a passive stance. Andy, as the Super Mario Galaxy movie's #1 defender, he's absolutely on one here. It's not the critics' job to revitalise the film industry.
I think it's really important here to raise the context of this conversation, that he's at like the Japanese movie premiere, talking to the Japanese press, and we've kind of hijacked this and translated it and stuck it on our Gaijin website. The Japanese press operate very differently, especially critics, compared to the West. It's almost like a collaboration, within their culture. It's, I've been on a few Japan side, press trips or press events, not ones where a British company or American company has sent me there. When I've been invited by the Japanese company, and it's very different. You've got very strict guidelines about what you can film or what angle you can film it from. And, the questions have to be approved, and, the transcripts needs to be approved, and it's very, very different. And that's I'm not necessarily being totally critical of that. Obviously it's absolutely not how we would operate. It's just different culturally, their role within, an entertainment field, that they are, it kind of is like it's a partnership almost. So coming in from that angle, you can kind of understand those comments a little bit more, if that is indeed what he's talking about specifically and not. Or even if he is talking about the Western press, that's kind of like where, where the Japanese mindset would come from. That you have some sort of obligation to support.
It's like any time you read a Famitsu interview with a developer, they're generally fairly, and again, it's a cultural thing, they're generally fairly softball questions. They're not looking to try and catch them out or get them to say something that could be headline worthy. It's generally, oh, and can you tell me about this part of the game? Oh, this is interesting. What made you think of this? And then usually ends with, finally, do you have a message for the readers, for the players and all that? It's generally... Yeah,
and go and look at the last time they genuinely panned a game. It's just different culturally.
Yeah.
It just is. I mean, I've been at press events in Japan where years ago, where the former editor of Famitsu is just invited as a guest, by the top, by like Kojima or something, and he'll just come in and walk about, right? It's just different.
Yeah.
And also, aren't Famitsu operated by the trade body, Dringo? They're mad.
It's the ones that run the charts, isn't it?
That's it. They're like, So it's just different. It's just different. I can see how, and probably if you're Shigeru Miyamoto, you're not used to your stuff being panned either.
Yeah.
So coming from that point of view, he's probably a little bit more surprised. Do you know what as well? Like, and there's the conversation that, and we've said this before, how unique it is playing stuff in isolation compared to before. Like, I mean, I got to see Mario in like the first press screenings. I had no, influence or whatsoever. And I thought, look, it's the people who didn't like the first one are not going to like it, but I really enjoyed it. It's quite good. And then what happened I was genuinely surprised as well when the like 1 out of 5s and stuff were coming out. I was quite shocked as well. And then after that point, anyone who's going in and coming away from assessment that game is going in the landscape that this is a film that is panned. This is a film that is disliked, right? I think if I was working on that movie and I saw the rough, I would probably be going, I think they would like this more than the first one.
Yeah. And I suppose, although he wasn't explicitly mentioned in specific reviews, when he's talking about being surprised, he must have been referring to stuff like the review saying, "Is this the death of cinema?" and the review saying the AI slop is better than this.
This is not our wheelhouse, right? But that is some of those reviews, like, just would not fly in the games industry. It's obviously a much more mature medium than us. It's almost like being a restaurant critic, right? but it's like they're playing a character.
Yeah.
It's a parody. They are playing a character.
Yeah.
You know, to say like this is the worst thing. It's more painful than me having my arm chopped off, and comments like that. Right?
Yeah.
It's a ridiculous thing to say.
Yeah.
Well, let's have some good news very quickly. It seems like Bumble is coming back. I know we're all very excited.
I was going to say, that's not the theme tune.
Yeah, it's right about now. It's time to rock with the Biggity Buck Bumble. On 420, Jesus Christ, the Buck Bumble account tweeted, right about now, Buck Bumble is officially your new wholesome 420 mascot, and we will not be taking further questions at this time. But be sure to stay tuned for forthcoming news and announcements. Chris, when these Pish games come back, does it ever actually end up well, or should they stay in the 90s or early 2000s? I don't know. I don't care where they belong.
Which Chris?
I'm talking about retro garbage. Of course, I'm talking to you, Chris Scullion.
I mean, this man has knows his stuff. It depends on how they're going to handle this, because Buck Bumble is fine. Like the problem with Buck Bumble when it came out is that it wasn't a twin stick, like heavy. It was on the N64 and only had the one stick, and so to control him, you had to hold A to go forward and B to reverse. It was almost like a driving game more than if they remaster it or remake it properly and give it twin stick controls, like, and have him move him with the left stick and turn him with the right stick. It could be a better game.
It could be a better game.
Oh, very good. It's famous because of the theme tune.
Yeah.
Let's face it. If it didn't have that ridiculous, if it didn't have that amazing fanfare at the start, then it would probably be forgotten.
Well, I remember at the time when it was coming out. I remember at the time when it was coming out, a lot of people were talking about it because obviously it's from the makers of Star Wing.
Yeah, because Argonaut.
From the makers.
From the makers of Star Fox, minus Nintendo.
Minus all the guys who designed it.
Exactly. From the makers
from the guys who did the plastering on the chapel.
From the guy who made the R-Wing fly.
They'll do all the normal guff. They'll bring it out. They'll put the theme on vinyl, and everyone will go, "Oh, I remember this," and then no one will actually bother.
I've genuinely, if anyone from Argonauts listening, I've had famous vinyl companies reach out to me asking for their contact details.
Well, right about now, it's time to rock.
Game did well, didn't it? Did it review well? Well, I wasn't paying much attention.
What game?
Bubsy.
Bubsy. You tell me. Game business.
Well,
I mean, they're in their lane, aren't they? Like they're.
Oh, I don't mean sales wise. I mean it's going to have a niche audience. I meant that the game was good. That's what I heard. I didn't pay much attention.
Well, no Bubsy game's good. That's a lie.
The fourth one's not out yet, but it is the initial one. But there's a demo just came out this week. It's really good. It's made by Fabraz. They're the ones who did what's the name of that
Demon Souls.
No, the one we reviewed a couple of years ago is a really good platform. I forget.
Because Playtonic did it.
It was pretty good. And
Demon Turf, wasn't it?
Something like that. I played a bit of Bubsy at Gamescom, and it's really good. Like the new one, it's actually to the point that to the extent that the developers were sitting saying, "Look, we know a lot of people are saying why should Bubsy of all things make a comeback because the old games were shite. This one's actually quite a good one, and it's like I think a lot of fans are going to be quite pleasantly surprised by it.
If we're bringing back mediocre platformers from the sort of late 90s, early noughties.
Super Mario Sunshine.
You took the joke right out of my mouth, Andy. Thank you very much.
You're talking about language. Go for it.
One
Chris.
of my favourite Mario games. But I think it's time, and this is not even mediocre. It's genuinely god tier platformer. It's time Sucker Punch stop with the Ghost of series and goes back to Rocket Robot on Wheels.
What a game!
Time we got Rocket back.
What a game!
That's a belter of a game.
I think the dream, and this would never happen because it can't be done for a million licensing reasons, is that Digital Eclipse does one of its Gold Master series, like the interactive library museum thing, and it focuses it on 90s platform and mascots. And you can't do it because obviously they need to go and get the rights for everyone. But if you had a thing with the history of Aero,
they'd need at least 102 quid.
Well, yeah, exactly. But you've got Aero the Acrobat, you've got Sparkster.
That's a tenner.
You've got James Bond. You've got
James Pond, you can't make that.
Oh, James Pond.
No, James Pond. You've got Awesome Possum. You've got like this.
Pay us.
We could fire them all out in one go.
I'm going to start this timer again.
No,
I'm the guy that bought they released it N64 version of 40 Winks. That's the type of person I am.
What a game, by the way.
Because it came out on the PlayStation 1 and the N64 version never came out. But they did finish it, and then I've forgotten the name of the company.
Yeah, it's possible to acquire it before that.
This is like a fucking conversation at a nursing home. Next story. Their favourite games were already built with AI, says Google exec. I'm not really going to read this too intensely. I want to know, Chris String. Obviously, this is going to become a bigger kind of sticking point to beat games with. How are the studios going to navigate this messaging when it comes to using AI for stuff? Because it's already dominating interviews. How do they approach it?
AI is a really complicated thing, because what do you mean when people say AI? Do you mean that is the art made with AI? Well, nobody wants that. Do they give a shit if they used AI to help them write their emails? Like, I don't know what I often know. Never really quite sure what the questions refer to. I mean, we're all journalists. I'm sure we've all used AI tools to transcribe our interviews. Do we need to declare that we've, where's the line? I think we as an industry need to work that out a lot of the time. And sometimes it's easier just to say, well, yeah, I mean, I used AI to search for something once. And it's like, am I going to put that on my Steam declaration list? I think I think what people are talking about is generative AI, right? They're talking about, did you use AI to make the art in your game or make the music in your game or whatever? And I think that's where everyone's like, that's not good. Don't give people BAFTAs for that. Don't, that kind of stuff. And everything else is sort of, there's probably a grey area somewhere in the middle, but when it comes to sort of just doing stuff to speed bits of your job up, I don't think that's necessarily a problem. But I don't really know. This is a mobilegamer.biz quote. I actually missed it. I'm not sure what the Google guy is saying. Does he mean generative AI? Is he just talking about AI broadly?
I think he does, but obviously you got to look at it from the perspective that it's literally his job to hype the AI use, right? I don't think he's the most trustworthy source on this, but he goes into specific detail. Like he says, Capcom, this is how they use it. They use it for ideation for rocks and stuff like that, right? Instead of sending someone to get a portfolio of rocks, they get AI to do it. And then they all look at the AI rocks and they go, we should use this one. And then they go and make the art. Like, he doesn't go into the game. It's concept.
Yeah, so it's a search tool effectively to pull up images. Yeah. It's weird.
And Capcom have been quite open about that as well. They kind of said that they're, in less explicit terms, that's sort of what. So
it's just fancy Google. Like, I guess that's where because I'm on Substack for the game business, and so when I upload a video to Substack, I didn't know this to begin with. My producer was spending hours doing TikTok videos that we put out, and Instagram Reels and whatever. And I didn't realize that Substack does that for you. It just automatically creates a load of videos. And it does the whole beginning and ending and clicks and links. And I thought, wow, and it does the subtitles and everything. That's all AI. Now, it obviously chooses the wrong clips because it doesn't know what the interesting bits are. But then I go in and I just go, oh, okay, you're supposed to start there and finish there. And I fix it. And I thought, well, basically AI did most of the work there. And I came in at the end and made it good. And I realized that, well, technically I'm using AI, aren't I?
I mean, it's generative AI that's the issue, isn't it?
Yeah. One of the things I can't get my head around is I spoke to a PR recently because I found out a journalist AIs their questions. So goes into Google and goes, what questions should I ask blah about blah? And I was like, really? Like, you don't? And he goes, yeah, that's how I get through so many interviews. And I was like, I spent ages like properly watching back their videos and reading their answers and to get an understanding of what they're like.
The questions are not going to be very good.
Well, I tested it once. Like I was interviewing Troy Baker. I was on my way to interview him. I'd already prepared, and I thought, I wonder, because this was just moments before when I was told this. I wonder what Google would tell me to ask him. And the questions were like, if a junior had come to me with the questions, I'd have gone, yeah, they're all right, but like they weren't great. And I thought that's where I think AI falls down a little bit. But I found out from a PR when I mentioned this to a PR once. Oh yeah, well when somebody's interviewing somebody, I Google what would Andy Robinson ask blah, And then they comes up with a list of questions that you might ask. And so, again, I tested that quite recently. I did an interview earlier today. I'd written out the questions, spent last night preparing for the interview. And then I Googled, what would Chris Dring ask the person I was speaking to?
Well,
and
now we have to check.
And I have to 6, 7 out of the, maybe 60% of the questions.
He's done it again, 6, 7.
So I'd say about 60% of the questions that AI threw out at me were questions that I sort of was asking. And I was like, oh, that's surprisingly, some of them were just rubbish. Like, why would I ask this guy this question? That doesn't make any sense. But some of it, I was like,
The main two things I've found it useful for, like you say, translation, but again, with the caveat that you need to be very careful when running Japanese, say, through these things, because it's open to so much interpretation that it's like, if you want to be really sure about a quote, you kind of run it past an actual Japanese speaker first before running it. And also, like you said as well, as a really fancy search engine, the problem with Google has always been that you kind of need to know the term that's in that document for it to appear. But there's been times when I've been writing my book when I've gone, I seem to remember one of the developers said this about the game, and I'll ask whatever ChatGPT or whatever, can you find a time when so-and-so said this? And they'll come up back with some examples. They'll say, no, he said something along the lines of blah, blah, blah. And it can interpret that and find it. Whereas I would never be able to find it with Google. It finds the page, and then you have to do your own research from.
Yeah. I think
you can never rely on it, but if it can help to nudge you in the direction, and then
it can get you started on things.
I'm not going to lie. I put into an unnamed AI, what questions would Jordan Midler ask Hideo Kojima? And the stuff that it brought back has made me really quite depressed.
What's your favourite energy drink?
It's really bummed me out how, it's not exactly what I would ask, but the way that they've broken it down in terms of here's how they would open, here's the VGC style, here's the VG podcast style closer, and it's a question about what's it been eating in London and has it made it to his Instagram? There's a really niche question that I always try and throw in about early games that would require a lot of research. It makes me feel quite sick, honestly.
I take solace in the fact that every now and then I'll type into one of these things, write a review of some old game in the style of Chris Scullion, and it never
ultimately
because it'll come up with, it will occasionally go, here's a review written in Chris Scullion's light-hearted tone, and it'll be doing that. It'll be trying to throw in really bad jokes, the actual bad jokes, not the dad jokes that I have. And it'll say something like, and let me tell you, this guy's, and I'm like, okay, I'm safe, because there's no way.
I asked ChatGPT how Chris Dring would interview Donald Trump about the games industry, and it was a bit too dry.
Slapping noises.
So I asked it instead how what he'd ask Gary Glitter. It says the pairing wouldn't realistically happen in the first place. Chris Dring covers the video game industry, so his interviews are almost always with developers and executives. Gary Glitter, on the other hand, is a disgraced musician. There's no meaningful overlap with Dring's beat. If you're asking a hypothetical angle, the only context where Dring might touch on someone like Glitter would be indirectly within a broader industry discussion about licensing music in games, legacy content, or how companies handle controversial figures. How should publishers handle existing content tied to figures who've been convicted of serious crimes?
You had me at Drink might touch on someone like Glitter.
Should older licensed tracks be removed or replaced in re-releases?
Oh my dear, that is what I'd ask. What
due diligence should companies do when licensing music or likenesses?
It is quite. I mean, it isn't. It's not spot on, and sometimes it will say things because it goes. Chris likes to ask about market data and performance and stuff like that, and it will say things. Chris is going to ask Troy Baker about sales figures for The Last of Us. No, I'm not. I'm not going to do that. But it's got me about right. It's got my what sort of things I asked right, and they're applying it to. It's a bit. I don't know. I guess it's useful from a PR perspective. I don't have to give them themes and topics. Not that I do that very often anyway, of what I'm going to talk about. But it's just, I guess you can just stick. It helps them. But I don't know.
Well, that's depressing. Before name of the game, Andy, Dringo, you were both at BAFTA. How was it? You looked very fancy. Andy, you enjoy yourself?
Andy made me lower myself.
Sorry, I'm down the rabbit hole now. I'm asking what Dringo would ask Bonnie Blue. How platforms and storefronts handle adult content or anything.
Well,
moderation policies.
Look forward to the game business van at SGF. Andy, BAFTA, how was it?
It's fine. I thought the winners were pretty good this year. I would have given Troy Baker a BAFTA. I think that is. I think in general, now that there's some time between it, that Death Stranding 2 is very underrated game.
Agree.
I think specifically his performance within it as well deserved some recognition.
He wasn't up for that, was he? He was up for. Jumps.
No, he was up for Death Stranding as well.
How was he?
I think it was the Game Awards where he was up for Indiana Jones and not Death Stranding, which is. I told him when I saw him, like his performance in Death Stranding was like the best performance I've seen from him. Absolutely unreal. So that was good. What we bumped into a bunch of people.
Yeah. You made me
know.
lower myself. I had to step over the I had to go to the poor
side. Oh yeah, Dringo got into like the posh side of the red carpet queue.
I didn't know anybody there. They actually that's why I had to go.
Nobody there knew you, Chris.
No, exactly. Apart from Lucy James.
Who?
But yeah, it was good fun. It was good fun. Briefly spoke to a bunch of people. Don't remember much about it.
It was all right. I tell you what I don't like about awards, and it's nothing to do with the BAFTAs, is that really I just want to mingle with people and chat with people and just sort of get to. And I understand the awards events there, so you've got to do the awards event. But the award event's like 2 hours long, and then there's the dinner, which is like 2 hours long. And so
it's too. Like they should do it earlier in the day. They really should. They should do it earlier in the day.
What was the food? What was the scran?
Like a chicken thing, wasn't it?
A little bit
chicken. And
it was pretty good. See, I know I've said this to BAFTA as well. I have a long-standing annoyance with BAFTA, and I used to run the Golden Joysticks for a bit. We're involved in the Game Awards on a judging capacity. I get to see some stuff behind the scenes. I've been involved in BAFTA in the past. It just annoys me. The ceremony always annoys me. Like it always annoys me how it's like. It feels like a 2001 Sky One TV program about video games. Like, hey everyone, I play video games. Do you? Yeah. Don't tell my parents. Like, oh, don't talk about. I've got a big gamer score. Don't you challenge me. My gamer score's massive.
Yeah.
Anyway, here's Scoopy Tennis number 2 off of YouTube.
I don't think I recognise 75% of the people who are on stage.
Yeah, I don't really know who it's for. It's and this has been an issue I've had with BAFTA for a long while, because again, I hold them to a higher standard. If I didn't care, I wouldn't be having this conversation. It's a massively prestigious, obviously, organisation. It means a lot to the people who are nominated. They fly all over from the world, a lot of times off their own back, and I wish they do better in kind of representing that. In my opinion, the Game Awards, if you drop someone from space and you put the Game Awards in front of them and you put BAFTA and you said which one of these is the prestigious games industry event, I don't think anyone's saying BAFTA.
Well, I don't know, but I think all the trailers sort of makes the Game Awards more of a marketing event.
Of course, even if you take the trailers out, right? And those trailers are seeping into BAFTA, by the way. We'll see. We had the high profile case of them removing one. Of course, Jeff's obviously, they've got the Hollywood connections, right? So you've got like Al Pacino and stuff like that presenting.
What?
But they'll have like Brenda Romero and, a proper, they've got people like Joseph Farris sat in the audience, and it's like Dave off of like Twitch doing it. And no disrespect to any of those people. They're clearly very, very talented. I wouldn't expect to be presenting a BAFTA. And I thought the host did a wonderful job as well. It was a bit too much of that for me.
So
it's always like everyone is like, I remember the Nintendo 64. I used to play it. Yeah.
Way. Yeah.
So you think the winners, the people, the hosts of that event should be industry people? I guess the problem is when you've got
not necessarily. I mean, obviously they need a spread. It just leans a bit too far for me. That it's sort of like they're a charity, but I don't really know what they're trying to do. Because there's lots of like contradictory things in the planning of this event.
I have to think it's a budget
where they're sort of like, here's someone who's very popular and has a big audience, fine. But then we're not a commercial organisation and we're not interested in having a big trailer that people are going to pay. Okay, and then it's sort of like, well, here's a musical performance from a 20-year-old Final Fantasy game that half the people in the room, half the presenters don't know, weren't born for. So it's like, where are you? It just feels like a bit of a clash to me.
Yeah, I think there's an element. What always slightly grates for me a little bit, because I think the BAFTAs are brilliant. I think it's one of the best awards events. But there is a slight pretentiousness around how it's judged. How it's judged is as flawed as how all the other awards are judged. I've always used the example that one year I was in the BAFTA judging for best original story game or something like that, and there were 3 games that ended up on 2 votes each, and they needed a winner. And so what I ended up voting for Until Dawn, because I loved horror games. But I was aware that if I wasn't on that judging panel, someone else was. It'd be a different winner. And Andy, you've talked before. I've been on the BAFTA judges. They always, I always hear BAFTA go, everyone judges it properly and plays every game. No, they don't.
No, they don't. Absolutely no way.
I've been in.
It's not. They treat it like the movie award. You can't. You get handed like 200 plus games. You're not playing them. This is why, for me, the Game Awards is as good as it can be, because you have critics from around the world, kind of judging these. These are the only people that have time because they're getting paid to play games all day.
I do think the BAFTA judging is great because it does mean that you can get strange, unusual games. Claire
that's the best thing about BAFTA.
Doesn't sweep the thing, and I think that's good about it. But I think we have to also acknowledge, like with all the other awards, the judging's flawed because. Even if you don't have 200 games, even if you're just judging the 13 or the 12 that are in the long list in the category you're in. I mean, I worked out when I did Family Game last year. It was about 800 hours worth of games you've got to play in like a month. And these people have jobs. They're not journalists. And I just think they're playing. The idea is they play enough of it. And you got those games like a best evolving game. How the heck do you judge that? Yeah. Like it's anyway.
Unless you've been playing that game through the entirety of its life, then you can't judge how well it's evolved over time.
So I think it's really hard to judge. So I think the judging is flawed, just as every other. By the way, all awards judging is flawed.
Every award's had
I'm
challenges.
Not defending.
Different
I'm not saying
challenges.
BAFTAs is better or worse. I just think there is an element. There's certain people that go, "This is how awards should be judged." I'm like, actually.
Awards should be judged in the following way. Ask me what I think and give them the award. Game of the Year, Death Stranding 2, a game that will be troubling the BAFTAs next year, I have no doubt, is Saros. Our review is up now. 8 a.m. this morning, it went live for whatever godforsaken reason, so you can go and check that out. We've got lots of videos over on YouTube as well. Andy, you're finding it tough out there in Carcosa, I hear.
I'm enjoying it though. I'm right near the start. But I mean, but that doesn't really mean anything in this type of game, right? You can play 10 hours and not got past the first boss. I'm enjoying it more because of the persistent progression, right? Yeah. I'm not a big roguelike guy. I bounce off Returnal as soon as you hit like an insurmountable, like in a Dark Souls or Demon Souls, right? You can just like go and grind and level up and come back. Whereas, so those sorts of games where it's just basically get good. Like, no, I'm not going to get good. I'm going to go play something else.
Mentally grind. You can go and check out the review and all those videos and stuff over on the website and the YouTube channel. Before we go, by popular demand, Name of the Game is back. Name of the Game is the number one podcast video game quiz. I read a series of clues pertaining to the name of a video game after each clue. Each of our contestants can say stop and register a guess. They get one guess per clue, and they cannot guess again until the next clue has been read.
Shout out to our Patreon member who worked on Body Count as well.
It's not Body Count this week, but it is a game. Is everyone clear with the rules? Everyone okay?
How do you buzz in? Because I've only done one of these.
Stop. You say stop. Register your guess. Okay.
Okay.
This game was
Stop Forsaken.
Incorrect.
Right,
you fucked it.
No.
That was your first guess.
No.
That was your first guess.
I think you're right. I said stop before you started speaking.
No, you didn't.
So, yeah, go. I'm in.
This game was released on the 23rd of November, 2010. 2010, the glory days of gaming, back when gaming was good. Dringo, if you're Googling this, I'm going to snap your legs.
I'm rubbish with video games.
We know.
Stop. Silent Hill, Shattered Memories.
Incorrect. That's a double guess. That's a red card.
Counts.
Andy, any guesses? You might as well throw something out. Get yourself in the ballpark.
Halo 4.
Incorrect. Dringo.
2010. Kinect Sports.
Incorrect. This game was published by Ubisoft and released on Nintendo DS, PlayStation Portable, Nintendo Wii, PlayStation 3, Xbox 360, Nintendo 3DS, iOS, and the PlayStation Vita.
So we
Stop.
shouting.
Andy?
Rayman Legends.
Incorrect. Good guess. I think that did come to all
That's a
of us.
good guess. If it's on all those, then it must be shite. Oh, stop. Is it the Michael Jackson Experience?
That's the name of the game, the Michael Jackson Experience.
There's your dinner.
Released
I forgot about that game.
in 2010. The next clue
Shamon.
was, the next clue was going to be the initial launch copy of the game
started
included
a
a limited edition white sequined glove. What a classic! According to Wikipedia, one of the best-selling games on the Nintendo Wii, the
Do you know what
Michael
happened?
Jackson Experience.
During the DS era, there was a cat and mouse game between developers and users of the R4 flash card who could very easily download DS games and put them on the card. So the developers kept thinking up new ways of copy protection to stop people, because basically the best way to catch these people out is to make it look like the game works. Because you'll get lots of people who would have hacked a game and put it on the flash card, and people would start it for 2 minutes and go, it works good, and leave it. The Michael Jackson Experience, if you had an illegal copy of the game and tried to play it on a flash card, when you started a song, none of the symbols would come up, and Vuvuzela music would play over the music. I was like, that's very
That's
good.
pretty decent.
Can I just say, very rarely do you get this opportunity in life, but I've just got a text saying that I've missed a DPD delivery because no one was in. My front door is there. Like, I could. Hi.
You ever
They just
recorded
take you're not
proof?
there, so we turn it to depot.
Bastard.
Well,
Man.
Dog should have cornered them.
Chris, what does Michael Jackson eat for his dinner?
Shaman eggs.
No, I was going to go for gammon.
That's not bad. I've got lots of Michael Jackson jokes, but we'll save them.
Nah.
God rest him.
Apparently that film's absolute dog water, which
know,
is
okay.
good to hear. He is a reprehensible individual who should burn in hell for all eternity. Dringo, anything fun coming up for you next week?
No, I've got an interview with a really big CEO next week in London. And quite excited about that. But no, I'm gearing up for the Game Business Live, which is like VGC Live, but in America.
I cannot stress to you enough how much we could not do VGC Live in America. We would be 2 jokes in, and then a red dot would appear on my head. So I don't have got much to aim at. Tell us about the Game Business Live and what people can expect.
I basically do live versions of the show that I do. And we're going to do, I've got 3 that's happening on June 8th in Los Angeles. We've got Matthew Ball, who's been on the show before, big analyst, got loads of views on the future games and all that kind of stuff. He's going to talk about that. And we're going to do a bit of a news show. We're going to talk about stuff announced at Summer Game Fest. Then I've got Laura Miele, he's the EA Entertainment president, looks after Apex Legends and The Sims and Battlefield and anything that isn't the sports games, basically. So I'm speaking to her on stage. And then I have got Jason Rubin, the co-founder of Naughty Dog, who directed Crash Bandicoot. He was the president of THQ for a bit, and he's been at Meta for a long time. We're sort of looking back at his career and talking about what the industry can learn from it and things like that. So those are I might have a couple others that we're still in discussion with, but fair, it's just those 3. That's great, and I'm happy about it. And that's June 8th. Recording it all, putting it all out as well. It's good.
Very, very
Plot
nice.
twist.
Plot twist.
my middle
Andy?
age moment. It's a scam. I was like, that's not a DPD link.
Amazing.
Yeah.
My favourite story about Crash Bandicoot is when it was in very early development, the code name for Crash Bandicoot was Sonic's ass. Because it was basically, because the idea was, how do you take a side-scrolling platformer and put it into the screen? You'd just be staring at their arse.
At least that's fun.
Yeah.
Sonic's ass or Sonic his ass?
Sonic's ass.
Do you
Because
remember
the main character was Sonic. Was basically
Didn't Mark
someone's
Cerny
ass.
work on both as well?
No.
Well, do you know what the Call of Duty code name was?
Medal of Honor's ass.
Kill them all.
Medal of Honor Killer.
And it
Sinister.
was.
And it
Yeah,
was.
right,
Remember
to be
that? Remember that Medal of Honor they released on the 360 era when it was all about tier 1 operators, the boys with the big beards, and they're like, "This is Call of Duty." They were taking it
a
seriously.
warfighter.
Yeah.
Warfighter.
I got shit hot at that multiplayer, and nobody played it, so it was worth
Yeah, that's why.
absolute buggery. Yeah, I was just playing other EA
Shooting a
employees.
wall.
Yeah.
Just all
Is
bots.
that the one where Linkin Park did a song which they did like a music video where it was set in the game. I think that was a mid-level game.
Oh my god!
Korn did the same for
Sounds
Haze,
amazing.
which was pretty good.
Haze.
Yeah, bring
The
Haze.
song
back.
was good, but not Haze.
I've actually Gaming Leaks and Rumors. I've actually heard that Haze 2 is going to be announced at Summer Game Fest. So get on that, boys.
Free Radical Design reformed again.
Yeah, they're going to make Haze 2 and Haze 3 at the same time. They're going to film them sequentially.
The
so
one you
they
want
come
is
out
this
together.
the Spy Hunter game on PS2. Had a theme by Saliva, a classic new metal theme, and they did a music video for it, which is available online, and it's mortifying. But it's very worth watching.
It's up there with Pixie Lott's Simlish song.
Katy Perry did one as well, didn't she?
Yeah, Katy Perry
of the
did do
DLCs.
one. Yeah,
A song in Simlish.
Pixie Lott. What was her hit? I know this has gone full nursing home at this point, but Pixie, she's not the one that get kidnapped, is she? That was Duffy.
That was Duffy.
Yeah.
It's not funny, sorry.
As a nervous laugh.
Was she had
I just didn't
Duffy?
expect that to come.
What's her name? Duffy? Oh,
Yeah, Duffy. I hope you look forward to seeing her doing the theme for the Game Business Live. She
I'll be
had
begging for mercy.
very good. She had 2 number 1 singles, Mama Do, Uh-Oh, and Boys and Girls. Couldn't hum ye a lick of either of them. But she
Like you
was
could with the
in,
Bumble theme.
come on, I've got taste. She was in the Fred movie, making her acting debut. And from 2017 to 2023, she was featured as a coach on the children's singing competition, The Voice Kids UK. So congratulations,
Duffy or Pixie Lott.
This is Pixie Lott,
Lott.
and we're talking
Yeah,
about.
she was in the pub. She lives near me.
Oh, does
She
she?
was in the pub having dinner near us recently. Not really
Do you,
interesting.
Andy, do you remember the pub that was round the corner from Future's offices? Not
Yes.
the one we used to go.
Do you want me to draw you it?
No. This anecdote has a punchline. Not the one near Baker Street down the road from the subway at Baker Street. The Cheeky Girls used to frequent that.
Yeah. Just get cheeky girls in the pub.
When I worked at MCV, David Bentley used to use our car park unofficially. He wasn't allowed to. He found a way of getting into the car park there, so he could walk into Hertford town centre without having to pay for parking. There we are.
The Cheeky Girls once went to, because they lived in that area, they once went to Madame Tussauds as themselves and pretended to be waxworks, and nobody cared. People just walked by and went, "Oh yeah, Cheeky Girls," and they're like, "It's actually us, the Cheeky Girls." Like, all right. Anyway,
nice little Michael Jackson impression there to bring it full circle.
Thanks very much.
And finally, for now, we've seen old tracks find second lives in video game soundtracks and trailers. If Mercy were to become the theme for a major global game franchise today, do you see that as a primary way to rebuild the Duffy brand, or does it feel secondary to the music itself? And that comes from Christopher Dring interviewing Duffy for the Game Business Live. So look forward to that coming soon. Thank you very much for watching, listening, putting up with this, sitting going, "Oh yeah, I remember that game," as well as us. At one point, this podcast will become games from 2005 to 2015. Oh yeah, I remember that. I think I did the cover for that. I was in school when I did that, so I hope you all enjoyed that.
One day I should bring the box of F360 promos out of my loft.
That's Patreon content.
And we'll just go through.
Yeah, go. Oh yeah, remember that proper Peter Kay stuff.
Also, I'm taking a wild swing here, but if anyone from the Tokyo Celtic Supporters Club is listening to this, could you please get in touch with me? Because I'm trying to get in touch. I arrive in Japan on the last game of the season, and I'm trying to get hold of you. So yeah, just in case.
Mourn together.
You never know.
Oh, that'll do it. Patreon.com/Video Games Chronicle to support this jamboree of sadness. If you want to support Christopher Dring, who's got so bored that he's went into his other room apparently because he's about 4 foot shorter on the video version. Dringo, get back on your mic and promote your nonsense.
Thegamebusiness.com. It's we've got we do 2 podcasts and videos a week, and newsletters if you prefer to read them, which you don't because you listen to this podcast. If you go there, put your email address in every time I have an episode.
We don't write this podcast down because it'd be much easier to do us for libel that way. When it's spoken, it's much lighter and easier.
Every time you have an episode.
One day soon, ChatGPT will ingest it, and then it will start talking about the time that you interviewed Gary Glitter.
Thank you very much. Until next time, say goodbye, Dringo.
Farewell.
Say goodbye, Andy.
Goodbye.
Say goodbye, Chris.
Goodbye, Chris.
And we'll see you next time. VGC is supported by Patreon. Check out patreon.com/videogameschronicle for more podcasts, ad-free browsing, and extra content. Thank you for your support.